As you probably know, our goal at ERIC is to provide mentorship and networking programs so that our clients participate in the workforce at their full potential. Our topics are usually employment related, immigrant success related. However, lately, your children are part of your work life or your mentorship meetings or even your job interview meetings. That is why we decided to do something for them, for the children. And I hope you will enjoy our today webinar virtual etiquette class for children and teens. Now it is my great pleasure to introduce to you our speaker today. Jeanny Vaage is a certified corporate etiquette and international protocol consultant. Her training is recognized by Fortune 500 companies, governments, academia, and private consultants around the world. She is a member of the Association of International Image Consultants, and you have probably seen her on TV. We are so honored to have a real local celebrity with us today. Jeanny, the mic is yours.
Well, thank you. Nice introduction. I really appreciate those kind words. And welcome to everybody. This is kind of an exciting time because today we're going to be talking about something that you probably don't always talk about. And that is manners, or the real word is good etiquette. Good manners and good etiquette go together. So what is good etiquette? Well, manners, firstly, is the things we do. So our mannerisms. So when we're thinking about good mannerisms, we have to think, well, why do we do those? And the reason why we do nice mannerisms or good manners or good etiquette is because, well, it makes you look good, but it makes everyone else feel good. So if you open the door for somebody, then they feel good. And of course, you look great. If you help somebody with their groceries, or your mom and dad, and you help them with their groceries, well, the other people say, oh my goodness, look at that young person helping. And you're, of course, and your parents are so appreciating it, so they feel good, but all the time, you look good. And that's what we'll be talking about today. There are no real rules in etiquette. They're just sort of things that we do that can make other people's day better. The first thing we're going to talk about is your parents working from home and you being home all the time. So when your parents or when the adults are working from home, there are some kind of important things for everybody to get. So the first thing you want to think about is that is their business. So you have a very special responsibility to let their business carry on. And why is that really important to everybody? Because the better they are in their business or their job or a job interview, the more able they are to make money. And if they're making money, that's a good thing. So we all have to sort of help them because they are not going to their offices. The first thing that we're going to talk about is the sound. The sound in the house. Oh yes, usually you're playing and it's all fun and that. But now that mom and dad or whoever is working at home, you have to realize that your voice carries. So when they're in their office, this is not the time to be yelling. That's when they come out for lunch. So keep your voice down when your parents are working. Not even when they're on the phone or in a conference. Just keep it quiet a little bit. That's the first thing. So no matter where you are in the house. And now the next thing is your parents very often work behind a closed door. Sometimes they're working right in your kitchen, and that's another story. But let's talk about that closed door. So your parents have closed the door, the adult that's working behind that has closed the door. That means that you stop. You don't just open that door and march in. You don't knock on it loudly because they could be speaking to somebody on a call or a conference call or visually. So if you come smashing in through that door and you're going to be on the video, well, that's just going to be hard on everyone. So when you see a closed door, this is what you have to do. When that door is closed, it means there's business going on. So first of all, knock very quietly. And then just don't walk in after you've knocked. Wait. The adult will say nothing. That means don't go in, because the adult is talking to another person. So if they say, come on in, that's great. Then you can come in. That is being respectful and good manners in your parents' workplace, which is now your home. I know it's no fun to have to be quiet and do all these things, but this won't last forever. Now, if you are in their office or around their computer, they have very important things, and they put things just like you do in your room. You have something put somewhere. You don't go and start touching everything around their desk and they go, what's this for? And it's a stapler or something, just because you might want a little attention. So don't touch anything in your parents' work area. So meeting in progress. All right, now let's see about ideas for the parents. So parents, this is a great idea for you. One thing I like to do, for example, right now during this webinar, I have put a towel on my microwave handle. That tells everybody in my home that I'm on a very important call and to be extremely quiet. Now, after this is over, I'll go remove that towel. And then everybody says, oh, okay, nobody's talking on the phone. The other thing is there are children and other people in different parts of the house. Maybe someone's going to start the washing machine to do the laundry. Well, you want to warn them that you're talking on the phone or you're on a conference call. So you might want to put a couple of signs, different places in your house. I go to the dollar store and I have a little flag that I buy, and I just plop it out everywhere that I know that the people will be. After I'm finished, I go and take those signs down so they can relax, because it is their home as well. So that's a great hint to you parents, rather than just telling your children, don't bother me. If they see the sign, then it's the sign that tells them what to do. So now we're going to talk about you. And we'll go back to that a little bit, just for a little review on how we can handle all of this about working from home. Let's talk about you, the young people. First impressions are what people see first. Now here we have somebody in their pajamas walking down the street. Well, you're not going to see that, but those other people are saying, what's with that? If they see this person later, they're going to say, well, that's the pajama person, because that's the first impression. What are some things that we can do to work on our first impression? Well, the first one is our posture. How we stand up and sit up. Now, I don't know how you're all doing there. Some of you are standing, I can see that, and some of you are sitting. So I'd like you to just, if you're sitting, that's great. If you're standing, it's even better. But rather than sticking your shoulders out like this and walking, I don't know, like a soldier, or sucking your stomach in and not walking like this is silly. So one thing you have to do, if you could, please sit at your place, very nice, and stand. Pretend that you've got like a diamond necklace here or a big pirate's medallion, and you want to lift your chest so the sun can make it shine. That is perfect posture. If you go around walking like this, people will say, oh, that person must be sad. Oh, they must be shy. I'm going to be very careful around that person. And you might not be like that at all. Again, you want to show that you have got that confidence, and you want to make everybody feel really good. Like, oh, look, this person is okay to talk to. They're just great. They're not depressed. And so really it's important when you sit and stand that you kind of hold yourself up just a little taller. I think you just grew an inch just by straightening up. A couple more pictures about posture is this one coming up with in the old days, we used to put a book on our head. So that would, if the book fell, it meant you were moving around too much. And here's another one with a bunch of teenagers just hanging out. Now that's okay if they're at their home in the basement and watching TV, but if they're in a public place or you're in a public place, it's important to sit up and respect that place. So sit up properly. That kind of sitting is great when you're watching TV or you're playing a video game, but it's not when you're out in public. Okay, now that we're talking about posture, we're going to talk about what to wear. Oh, excuse me, we're going to talk about what to say. Now, I know, parents, that you have taught your children please and thank you. But just like everything, we have to remind them. So even though you mentioned, and children as well, you learned it when you were 5, your parents are so busy, they've got so many things to help you with, they can't always remind you. But parents, check what your children are saying. Are they saying please and thank you? And are they saying you're welcome? Or are they perhaps saying, no worries, no problem, no way? Why? Because that sounds like there was a worry, there was a problem. Well, I really want you to work on that. And that goes forever. And adults, I teach this very same thing to lawyers and bankers and office workers. These words are so important. They give the other people a great impression of you. And they make people feel good if you say, oh, may I have that paper, please? Instead of, can I have that paper? It just is, it's the words that you want to keep in your vocabulary. So parents, you might want to start gently reminding your children. All right, let's talk about what we're going to do with our gestures. So gesturing over pointing. So if I do this is kind of rude in some countries. So we like to do an open hand. That's why the flight attendants never point when they're showing. They use 2 fingers and they're going like this. It's because they fly over the world, and there's a lot of people that say, pointing is a rude gesture. So I'd like you to just take your hand and I'd like you to gesture towards there's a doorway. Parents, you do that too. It is so very gracious. Nice work. All right. Now we are going to talk about choosing what to wear and when to wear it. So have you ever been with your parents? They go, don't wear that other outfit because you're going to go someplace that they really, maybe they're going to wear some of their people work. And you go, I like, this is my favorite outfit. Well, you represent your parents. So here's a good example. There's a band concert and this guy shows up in a pig costume. What's with that? And of course the Avengers, there's me in my hat because that's my uniform, and the Avengers are there. You'd never see an Avengers show up in the improper coat of clothing. So when your parents suggest that you wear something to church or something that's they're being represented, listen. And parents, don't be afraid to guide your children with this. It's so very important. All right. Now we're going to, here's a great example, wrinkled clothes. If you're looking like you just rolled out of the dryer, then check that out. And the other thing I want you to do is check how clean your clothes are. You know, sometimes we wear something for 3 or 4 days, and we may have a shower or a bath, but our clothes kind of smell funny. So before you wear something that's been in your closet, or just give it a sniff, because you're at your age now where you gotta smell good. And here's a little boy or a big boy who's looking good in his iron shirt. Nothing fancy, and it's not tucked in. It looks very cool, but it's nice and clean, nice and sharp. All right, so now we're going to talk about our name. We've talked about what we wear, how we stand, how we gesture, the words we use. But one thing we do all the time for the rest of your life will be saying your name. Now you may say, oh, I know how to say my name, but you're used to your name. You said it a million times. So sometimes what we do is we say our name really fast. For example, my name is Jeanny Vaage. I have a first name, and that's what people call me. And then I have my last name, which that's who I am. When I'm saying Jeanny Vaage, I don't want to do this. Oh, hi, I'm Jeanny Vaage. Because the person that's listening is going to go, what do they say? And some of you have very long names that you think, oh, it's such a long name. Say it with pride, nice and firm. Now you don't have to shout it, Jeanny Vogue. However, you want to say it so they don't go, oh, I didn't hear that name. And parents, this goes for you as well. Again, this is something I teach all levels about introducing yourself. I'd like to do a little game with you right now. And what that will be is I'd like you to say your name and then do this and then say your last name. So I'll do it with you on the count of 3. Okay? Parents, you do this too, because it's a great exercise to practice one of the most important things we do all the time. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Your name, Jeanny Vogue. Great. I kind of heard Dada Moo. So we don't want to drop that last name. All right? Make sure it's nice and clear. Let's try that again. Ready? Go. Your name, last name. Oh, so much better. That is how we say our names. And then people can say, oh, your last name is Gibson? Oh, are you related to some other Gibsons? And you go, oh, yes, that's my dad. And so right away, they get to know a little bit more about you. Very, very important, saying our name clearly so that the other people don't have to scratch their head. All right. When we're speaking our names, we usually say, hello, my name is, let's say it's Jimmy Gibson. I'm just making this up. If you can say that and say Jimmy Gibson. So I'd like you to just say out loud right now, all of you, hello, my name is, and then say the 2 names, okay? Go. Hello, my name is blah, blah, blah. Wonderful. I'd like you to add, it's a pleasure to meet you. So we're going to go, hello, my name is, first name, last name, then it's a pleasure to meet you. All right. Ready? Go. Hello, my name is, it's a pleasure to meet you. Now, when we're doing this, we didn't talk about one of the most important things, and that's a smile. I work with a lot of people, and I'll say to everybody, oh, let's smile. And they go, what is that? That's not a smile. A smile shows your teeth. That tells the person, I want to be your friend. So could we all smile together right now? Big smile, let's stretch. That's great. When we're talking, when you're introducing yourself, you want to smile. Certainly don't want to do this. Hello, my name is, right? We want to say, oh, I'm kind of excited to meet you. Would you please smile and say what it says on the screen? But when you get to the word pleasure, I'd like you to nod your head a little bit. Let me show you. Hello, my name is Jeanny Vogue. It's a pleasure to meet you. I think you believed me, didn't you? So would you mind doing that? Just all of you, mom, dad, kids, whatever you have there. Okay, off you go. Now, hello, my name is, good, smile. It's a pleasure to meet you. Beautiful. And by nodding on pleasure, it's a really nice way to say, I acknowledge you and I respect you and I want to meet you. Wonderful. So the happy face is going around in circles. Right now, we're going to see it flip, and then we are going to see what's next on our screen. When do you introduce yourself? Well, when you meet somebody, when you recognize someone, but for most of you, if you're sitting beside somebody, maybe you are at church or you're at a church banquet or you've gone somewhere that you have to sit beside somebody, not at the doctor's office, you wouldn't do that there, but you're going to spend some time there. You might just look over there and say, hello, my name is, and say your name, and let them say theirs. And that's easy as it can be. Now, some of you are thinking, oh, I'm just a kid, I don't have to do this. However, you won't be a kid forever. And this is the time we practice all of these things. So get accustomed to introducing yourself. Parents, before you go out to a social gathering, consider taking your children and running this over with them so they have confidence. Everybody likes to have confidence, and confidence comes from knowing what to do. So children, you're confident, you're standing, you've got your gestures, and now you can really introduce your first and last name beautifully. I hope that helped when you're introducing yourself. All right, next we will talk about where to look. So I work with young people and older people, and I've learned to this is where we're shaking hands, and we'll start shaking hands again one day. And they're not even looking at me, or they say, hello, my name is, and they're looking over here or over there. I'm thinking, do they notice me? Get accustomed to looking right in the eye at the person you're speaking with. It's not going to make them feel uncomfortable. If you look down and everything and shuffle, you're going to make them feel actually more uncomfortable that way. So good eye contact, your first and last name, smile with your teeth, and what a great first impression you will make. All right, now we're going to talk about introducing other people. Now, I'm not going to go too much on this, but sometimes you have to introduce your grandmother. Let's talk about that. If you're going to introduce somebody, you want to say the most important name first. So that might be your grandmother or your grandfather or your teacher or a doctor or your coach. Whenever someone teaches you, they are the most important. So you might want to say, Grandma, I would like to introduce you to, and say your friend's name, not just the first name, but the last name as well. Now, if you don't call your grandma, grandma, you call her whatever. But then your friend, you don't want them to be calling your grandma, grandma. So then you say, oh, my friend, whatever his name or her name is, you tell your friend, this is my grandma, Mrs. So-and-so. Otherwise, they'll start calling your grandma, grandma. So you do that with teachers. Teacher, I would like to introduce you to my parents. And then you give the full names, John and Sally Smith. This is my example. However, sometimes parents don't have the same name. So you have to be very clear. This is John Gibson and Sally Smith. Then me, I'm listening to you and I go, oh, they have two different names. I'm going to remember that. So that's a little bit about introducing. And parents, once again, this does not come just so easy. These things you practice and they will make you proud. And of course, they will be confident. So manners are practiced and refined at home with the parents. Let's think about being at home. When a visitor comes to your home, and I know we all get visitors, people knock on the door and say, hi. If it's someone that comes in 6-7 times a day, well, then you might be a little bit more relaxed. And I'm wondering about that. But if they've come in and you're sitting there playing the game or watching TV or eating something, you don't just look at them and go, hey, you stand up and say, hello. And adults, it's the same thing. When you're with business, when a client enters, you stand up. You don't remain seated. Teaching your children to do this will bring them to the next step when they are in a job interview. You have to get them started early. So here's a very good example. She's standing there and everybody's laying around. So work on that when people come. That's the first place you want to work on that particular manner. All right. When you are visiting somebody or even at home, it's about respect. So if you have a room that looks like this, you're not respecting the people that own that home, which is your mom and dad. That shouldn't be happening. So again, be careful that you practice all your manners at home. So where else can we practice our manners? Well, with our family. And very often we go to the supermarket and Costco and Superstore with our family. This is a great place for you to practice your etiquette. And that is when you are going to Superstore and your mom or dad takes the groceries out and you're loading up the car, get in there and do it with them. They could go sit down and you could unload the car. When you arrive home, you don't just run in the house and say, whatever. Even if you're 5 years old, parents, get them to be helping. This is going to just take them right into their working world when they get their first job at McDonald's or something like that. They are going to have all these manners down. Find out where else you can think of to practice your manners. If you see a door, maybe you could open it for somebody. Well, always remember, good etiquette is about respecting those around you. So back to when your parents are working. In your home right now, it's a little different. Sometimes we have to tiptoe, but it's worth it because you're going to learn how to build on that respect. So when you are out in public, it'll show up. You can be confident with your gestures and your clothing and the way you speak and the words you use. And of course, just the way you respect others and others' places. I hope that helped and you got a few ideas. Thank you for listening. That was wonderful. You did a great job, everyone.